capturing depth in a green gouache landscape. Also illustrating the use of contrasting brightnesses, I guess you would say. You got light against dark. You got yellow against, well, you got yellow, green against dark green or blue-green. So it's a study in contrast. Plus, the little figure in the middle is red, and it's the only spot that isn't a shade of green, with the exception of some wildflowers that are around there. So this is another card that is being added to all the cards that I'm painting this year, and they will all be donated to the church so that they can sell them at an art auction, and that helps raise money for the youth programs at the church. And I don't know exactly what the youth program does. I know they go on field trips. So like last year, I donated 200 cards, and they sold for $5 each. Not a bad price for an original work of art, right? Of course, I didn't get the money. That wasn't for me. It was for the church. So it's my way of giving, I guess. And they do some really great work with the kids. They take them places, and they show them camaraderie, and they show them teamwork. And I think we live in an age right now where we are isolating ourselves from one another. So it's good to have groups that get to feel that whole neighborhood feeling, when kids get together, adults too, not just kids, but in this case it's to raise money for a program of some sort. Anyway, and I'm just one drop in the bucket. I am definitely not the biggest donator, and most people who donate actually donate money, so I'm not one of those guys who can do that. I'm not the next Rockefeller. But I can paint cards, and it's just my way, and hopefully there's some joy. I get some joy. I get a lot of joy out of just simply painting. That's the Bob Ross philosophy, is the joy of painting. I mean, there really is something relaxing about taking an idea from your brain and trying to take a brush and make that vision happen on the paper. And I guess that you can relate to this, that the image that ends up on the paper is usually not what I had in my mind, but it looks okay. It's not like sometimes I have these grandiose, these big ideas. I'm gonna paint this and that and all the other stuff, and then it ends up something relatively simple. This is relatively simple. It's a tree. A tree is the star of the show in this one. Big old oak tree with a little person. I think that's a lady. I don't know. I just kind of drew some couple of lines, made hair, and maybe it's probably a red dress. Yeah, I guess. Of course, I could have put something more grandiose, like a stallion horse just rearing up on its back legs. Oh boy, I shouldn't say that, because maybe I'll try to do that and then I'll mess it up. But my promise on this channel is that when I do mess up, I do post it. So I will post the yucky stuff as well as the mediocre, and once in a while something good. Alright, well, let me show you how I did this. This is one card that will eventually be 200. I'm not sure if this is the 7th or the 8th card. I kind of lost track because I took 2 days off from doing these videos. And let me show you how I painted this one right now. Alright, good morning. Let's have some fun with the paint. I'm going to use gouache today. Some of the gouache is dried, and I'll be reactivating it. And some of it is fresh out of the tube, so I'm using gouache from the M. Graham and Company set. It's a basic set of primary colors, yellow, blue, and red, and it comes with black and white also. I probably won't be using black, but I will be using Payne's Gray, which I already have in my my tray over here that is reactivating. Will be reactivated. So, all right, let's just get started with this. I wanted to kind of do an easy, an easy demonstration of light and dark, if that makes sense. So let me start out with some just plain water. It's slightly dirty water. That's okay. I kind of want it to be slightly dirty. I'm just going to get some of this paper, get a little bit wet so that it can start to soak in. And once it soaks in, it works differently than on the dry paper. So if you are curious about why I do this, it's not really a trick, but it's a fun way to take gouache and use it as watercolor. Does that make sense? All right, here we go. Now I want some really, really, really subtle oranges in the background there. Just really subtle. So, and I am using orange that's already straight from the tube. It was from a different tube, but it's okay. It's going to work. There. It's a little bit too orange, but that's okay. I'm going to just grab it, add a little yellow to it, lighten it up. Because what I want that to do is I want that to dry. And we'll let the water work with it and lighten it up a lot. Let me get some of that up. It's a little bit too much. Just dab it with a tissue or a napkin. Basically, I'm just trying to stain the paper. There we go. Just keep it super light. Super light. Alright, now let's do some light yellow here. It's really going to be yellow-green, so I'm going to just make a little hill. So a little hill where this tree is going to be sitting. I'll add a little bit of green to that, just very little. So yesterday, Robin and I went to Daytona Beach. We were walking the beach and remembering a lot of what we did yesterday was walking down memory lane, I guess you would say. When we were younger, we'd go to the beach all the time. When our children were younger, we would go to the beach all the time with the children, you know. And so yesterday, there was a lot of young people on the beach, and you really feel old when you're with young people. That's when you really feel. That's when you really feel the age. All right, so we got a little bit of a hill there, and now basically we're just going to create some trees. Just create some trees. Get some yellow and green, yellow and blue, mix them together. Get some green out of that. Let's get some of that in here. Kind of real hazy. Keep it watered down. That's why I wanted the paper wet, you see, so it does the very thing it's doing now. There we go. Get a little bit of blue in there. Kind of blue-green. ultimately we wanted it a lot darker than the foreground, that little hill we made there. Just put a little blue, a little bit yellow, and we'll get our tones of green, our shades of green. Yeah, there's a nice dark shade right there. That's what I want. A nice dark shade. To kind of rise from the above behind the hill. Just dab it in there. It shows a lot of light coming through it. I don't want this to be a completely opaque group of trees, cluster of trees, I guess. All right, let's go ahead and put the trees on the right side now. Let's get it wet. Some of this dark blue, dark green, blue-green right down here. It's going to go up into the tree. Here we go. Start to get our tree in there. I'm keeping the tree blue-green for now. I'll add some color to it later, some contrast. There we go. Let's get that in there. We can add a little bit of Payne's gray now. And we want the edge of this tree to be lit from the back. So that's why I'm going to keep it a little bit on the light side, but you know, dark at the same time, if that makes sense. We'll put some of those fine limbs in there later on. A big oak tree, big live oak tree. So how you doing? You doing good? I hope you're doing good. Yeah, yesterday kind of was well, it was good to go to the beach though. You know, I haven't walked barefoot on the beach. I know this sounds weird, but I haven't walked barefoot on the beach in a long, long time. And for a variety of reasons, but anyway. But I did yesterday, and it was very welcome, very refreshing. Okay, let's get some of this edging here. I want this tree limb to go way out here. Here we go. Just get it all in there. Get a lot of yellow in there. Just lighten it up. We want the edge to be very kind of rough, like it's got growth on it, you know. There we go. Little hint of blue in there. There we go. Just trying to make this contrasted a lot from the rest of the picture. Here we go. Add some yellow to that. Make that Payne's gray look like a Payne's green. Payne's green. Do the best we can to get this tree looking like a tree. Just using kind of a very raggedy brush. It's really not an old brush, it's just I kind of let it get raggedy. It's a great way to use the pointillism technique. Sort of. It's kind of like using pointillism technique. Pointillism meaning lots of points. You paint the picture. It's sort of like pixels, lots of points, lots of dots. That's what pointillism is, for those who don't know. All right. I think we're getting there. So I'm not using any brown at all, or any raw umber or burnt umber for the tree. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I wanted to kind of do a study of this painting in a lot of green tones, and then perhaps add a point of light that's red or orange or something that is different than the rest of the painting. And as with all of these small paintings, by the way, they all serve as sketches for larger paintings in the future, somewhere down the road. Keep this foreground darker. I think that helps bring it out. It's blue-green if I can. I keep it very light. Very light. Let's wash it out a little bit. Yeah, that white does it. That white helps a lot. Just wash it out. And then the yellow, of course. trying to get this green. I want this to be obviously green, but not so over saturated, so that your eye gets the sense that it's green. But that's kind of where it ends. I think we're getting there. So far I've only used this one brush, and it's working out pretty nice, I think, because I can dab it and I can use brush strokes and just kind of create the illusion I want to create. Alright, let's get those background trees now. Let's get them a little bit more defined. Good. Alright, let's say a few lines in the back. Use one of these thin brushes. Let's see. This is a good one. I'm going to use some of the blue-green. A little bit darker than that. Let's add some branches back here. There we go, just a little hint of a tree, some tree branches. using that water to help spread it a little bit to give the impression of leaves on those branches instead of just bare branches. Just spread out the paint. Plus it'll thin it out and make it look a little bit more mysterious, a little bit more undefined. Do something over here. There we go. There's our tree. And now I want to put a little person on the bottom. This kind of person. Just a highlight of red here. A little hint of red. Underneath the big oak tree. underneath the big oak tree. Let's go ahead and add a few little tiny flowers and stuff into the landscape. Just a few. Few wildflowers. All right, I think we have our gouache landscape. We fold it so that it becomes a card. And now we have another card to add to our collection that will eventually be 200 cards by the time we reach November. Today, by the way, is April 6th. So we got till November to try to paint 200 cards. I think this is the 7th picture, the 7th card so far. All right. Thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.